Good evening and welcome to the Sunday, May 20th, 2012 edition of the Factoid. I'm Joe Lakeside, and with me here at the news desk is Hankai Drilla.
Thanks, Joe. Glad to be here. First up in the headlines this week, the May 14th council meeting of the city of Coffee City. Unfortunately, we here at the Factoid called it once again. The enormous level of malevolent ignorance on display was near mind-numbing at best.
The Maritone/Baby Sister Mafia faction at City Hall behaved in precisely the manner Hank predicted they would. Here, on last week's Factoid,
attendees of this fiasco were treated to a display of buffoonery never before seen in the annals of municipal government. No mention was made of the unbelievable foul-ups that have been widely reported in the local media on ConcernedCitizensCoffeeCity.com, and here, at the Factoid, there was an obviously concerted, hammer-handed attempt to blame every single failure of this inept administration on the CCCC.
The Mafia faction pushed through the illegal and irresponsible contract for patrolman Pooter. As usual, Alderman Abby Chung bloviated endlessly like a lobotomized drunkard. Lee Ferry made a couple of rehearsed, manufactured dissenting remarks, and only Alderman Drost and Jordan behaved with the good of the city and its people in mind.
Despite all the hair-pulling and histrionics, it is the consensus here at the news desk that Patrolman Pooter's contract is not worth the paper it is written on. We predict that Pooter will soon find a job better suited to his abilities.
Chris Moore reported that the community abortion center was out of compliance, way over budget, the parking lot was an unmanageable sinkhole, and it was all the fault of the CCCC. Unbelievable. Maritone said he would finish the abortion, then go hide. The turd in the punch bowl is that if the mayor is wrong, the city is in Dutch to Uncle Sam for a cool $250,000. The meeting descended into idiotic chaos.
There were about 30 attendees at the May meeting of the Briarwood Bay Property Owners Association. After regular business, Maritone gave an uninspiring and somewhat less than intelligible speech in which he pointed his finger in every direction but towards himself.
This was followed by a speech from the unelected Yankee president of the POA, Queen Gully. Gully told those listening that if one more CCCC-endorsed candidate were elected to the council, the criminals and terrorists would run rampant through Coffee City. He read a Craigslist boycott and called it proof.
Now on our Ask the Experts segment, our first question is for Rebel, a highly regarded and insightful writer at ConcernedCitizensCoffeeCity.com. A Diamond Head Bay resident writes, I am so glad we got out of this city before we were ever really in it. When I read the paper, I am always so startled at the strange reasoning of the mayor. Could you shed a little light on Mayor Moore's thought process?
Rebel replies, Moore's thought process is one of what you see is what you get. It is all right on the surface. You will not find any traces of deep thought, reason or common sense. All decisions are made on the spur of the moment, and hardly any thought is put into them before they are announced.
He is easily swayed by others, and this contributes to his rash decisions. He lacks formal training and natural skill in all areas of city management. The position of mayor is simply a rush of power to Moore. He has never accomplished much in life, and for him, this is his one great achievement.
He has extremely cloudy thinking as to what a mayor is. Think of any mayor you have ever seen or known. They are normally highly diplomatic, effective communicators and are very much people-oriented. Moore tries to rule through force and rude behavior. He sees the mayor's office as a dictatorial position. My way or the highway type of philosophy. Anyone would quickly reason that this type of behavior will never get a person re-elected. In short, this thought process is what has caused his term to be a total disaster to the city. The arrogant, abusive, abrasive, caustic behavior he has displayed has brought this city to its knees financially, caused undue hardship on the community center project, and ruined the reputations of many people at City Hall.
In less than 2 years he delivered Coffee City into financial ruin with no chance of recovery, almost as if he had planned it out. However, that was not the case at all. He is strictly a person who lacks formal education or training, and possesses a very abrasive personality. His lack of class and rude behavior was his downfall. People of this nature always try to blame their failures on someone else. Their thought processes are always cloudy. He lives in an isolated world no one else can see. If I may simplify, how in the world do you think a person who would fail miserably as a Walmart greeter would succeed as mayor of a city?
Hank will now read a letter from a Briarwood Bay resident, addressed to Ghost, the CCCC website admin.
When we voted for annexation, we were told we would get street lights and better roads. What happened? Ghost answers. Briarwood Bay cannot get city-funded street lights on private roads owned by the POA. It is a violation of the Texas Constitution and state law. The POI must provide for your safety and street lighting on private roads. Coffee City cannot even afford to fix the roads around City Hall, so how would anyone ever expect them to repair the 10+ miles of roads in Briarwood?
Again, it is a violation of the Constitution and state law for the city to spend 1 cent on private roads. The Boob Gully quotes an old common law precedent as justification. English common law was adopted as the basis of law in Texas in 1836 and was one of the first laws passed by the Texas Congress. However, none of those common laws can override the terms of the Constitution, which is the superior law. Any statutory law in Texas supersedes common law, since common law was adopted by statute. Common law was not a foundation of law in Texas. Spanish civil law was.
In further headlines, the Smith County wet vote petition has made it to Lake Palestine. A staff table at the entrance to Brookshire's was taking signatures from registered Smith County voters. Chandler has now added their name to the roll of cities attempting to get a wet-dry vote on their ballot.
Finally, on our Back Talk segment, a letter from Lady of the Lake, and a comment from a Coffee City resident. She writes, I would like to know why male council members and the mayor of Coffee City, Texas are so disrespectful to the female council members. It seems to me that the men on the council are very disrespectful toward women in general. Is this a common occurrence in the Lake Palestine area of East Texas, or is it just these men in particular? I had always been told the men of Texas were real gentlemen. Sincerely, Lady of the Lake.
You are correct, Lady of the Lake. We here at the news desk feel that East Texans value gentlemanly behavior and respect for ladies very highly. These mannerly swine are, hopefully, an anomaly.
A Coffee City resident writes, who is that in the background at the city council meetings of Coffee City who keeps trying to take control of the council? He is very argumentative. He keeps whining and trying to run the city. He isn't subordinate to the council. He likes to talk over the ladies. He sits in the judge's box. He often likes to put the sheriff's department beneath him. Is he a judge? I think he sits in the judge's box. I saw him on camera once carrying a gun into the council meeting. He always blames someone else. He is pretty camera shy. As an investigator, can you give him a name and a face for us?
You asked, and the Factoid delivers. The person in question is Coffee City Police Chief Ray Gill.
Ladies and gentlemen of Lake Palestine, good night, and have a better tomorrow.